Farm store is closed today, just like it's been many days this year, and of course last year as well. Good evening, everybody. I'm Gil Dominguez. Welcome to the Food and Farm Show. Today we're going to take a departure from our normal program where we bring you news and information and how to grow things here in Nevada County to follow up on a very important story that's facing our community. As many of you know, George Loftus asked farmers in our area to go to the NID meeting on Wednesday and have vocal support for him in his negotiations with the NID Board. Today we have that exclusive coverage of the public comment to the NID Board, and it's going to take up the entire show. There were that many people that were here in support of George and Sunsmile Farms, plus exclusive interviews from many of the residents that were there as they left the chambers of the NID Board. So thanks for joining us on today's show. After the break, it's part one of public comment at the NID Board meeting last Wednesday. You're watching the Food and Farm Show right here on the Touchdown Productions Network.
It's great to live in a community that cares. Let's all be respectful of the NID Board members as you voice your support. They have expressed they want to make this right.
Briar Patch Co-op and Natural Foods Community Market offers organic produce from over 30 regional farms and buys local organic produce from farms like River Hill, Sweet Roots, First Rain, Pyramid, and Mooney Flat. You can trust the Patch to hold their producers to the highest standards and always be certified organic. So get to the Patch, the Briar Patch, for organic produce.
Spring is here. Time to visit the Garden Center at A to Z Supply. We have everything you need to plant it, grow it, preserve it, and eat it. With a master gardener and full-time beekeepers on staff, the Garden Center carries a wide selection of organic plants, along with people and pet-friendly products. And don't forget our weekly workshops at the Garden Center at A to Z Supply.
Grass Valley Hay and Feed Supply is dedicated to the health of your pets and livestock. They offer the top brands of nutrition and carry the complete line of products from Bar Ale and Purina Animal Feeds along with Diamond and Canaday. They carry rice and wheat hay bales for your gardening needs, as well as alfalfa, grass hay, and grain for your livestock. It's Grass Valley Hay and Feed Supply, supporting Nevada County agriculture since 1992. Nevada County Farm Supply has been part of the agricultural scene since 1993. Their staff consists of a certified crop advisor, licensed pest control advisor, and irrigation auditor. In Penn Valley, they have a full-service nursery with over 500 varieties of plants and garden enhancements. In Grass Valley, they have a warehouse full of soil amendments, fertilizers, and nutrients. Nevada County Farm Supply, powerful knowledge and innovative solutions.
With that done, we'll move on to public comment on any items that are not on the agenda. And I would like to make sure we hold our comments to 3 minutes, no longer than 30 minutes.
Good morning. I'm not sure I have to say who I am. I'm George Loftus from Sunsmile Farms. I've come here to speak in public to voice my concerns. I was encouraged by you to file a claim and not a lawsuit. Through this process, I have been silent, but no more. After being virtually closed last year and again this year, I opened 2 weeks ago with peach U-Pick from 9 until 2 on weekends. By the first Sunday, I realized that everyone thinks our problems have been resolved. I would respond, no, the problem has not been resolved. NID rejected my claim, saying it was untimely. Almost everyone asked, what is untimely? I'm not sure. I guess it took too long. You closed the door without a realistic explanation or further negotiations. After being forced to call on your insurance company, I can only think of the ceaseless hours I spent preparing documentation to justify the damages to the farm. 1,000 hours or more, 4 years of crop reports and financials. The cost of forensic accountant we hired to examine our records, and yes, I believe she was untimely. Your insurance company sent out a forensic plant pathologist a month ago And he and I walked the farms. We spent 5 hours walking the property and examining my records. He said he appreciated being able to meet me without the attorney being present. And I showed him over 10 binders of records to substantiate the damages. I gave him a binder of around 400 pages to take with him. Knowing the extent of the material he has to examine, I would not say a month. It's not untimely. But now we're at a crossroad. My time is about to expire. I urge you to engage me as soon as possible. I want to leave communications open to resolve this matter. I don't believe going to court is the solution, although I am prepared. From where I sit, it appears that there's been a lack of communication between your management and field personnel. I feel your staff is out of control, many of whom no longer work here at NID. You as a board have a moral obligation to acknowledge that and show responsibility for the damage that they have caused. I've been through 2 general managers, 2 maintenance managers, and my representative, Nick Wilcox, all denied me my request for help, deciding that it was my pipe and my responsibility. My offer to Larry Markey, the maintenance manager at the time, and Ron Nelson, the general manager at the time, was to have NID do the repair at my expense and take up the matter of ownership later. I told them it was an emergency. They refused to help me, and they refused to provide me documentation supporting my so-called new ownership of this pipe. The damage to my farm will take at least 5 years to repair, no matter what you feel is fair compensation. 2 years have already passed, plus the 5 years to bring the trees and berries to full production. 7 years is a long time. I'm an orchardist. That's a 25 to 30 year commitment. A life's plan broken by a malicious act. Untimely? I ask, what is untimely? Untimely is converting the contractual agreement you had to provide water to my family farm for the last 70+ years to today's policy that everything after the box is yours. Untimely is the unwillingness to repair a pipe in the middle of a farmer's season, even at his own expense, causing devastation to his field crops. Untimely is having to close a farm the following season and having to cancel all planting and return CSA's checks paid to the farm over the spring. Untimely is being denied the ability to go to a water hydro operations meeting in May 2012 because your maintenance manager stated that who meetings are for the problems of NID's pipelines and service. You have a private line, so you can't come. Untimely is the 27 days I waited to go to the next 2 meetings while my attorney, while watching my cherry trees defoliate and die. Untimely was the 2 weeks it took to repair the problem after my attorney found the documentation proving your responsibility and ownership of the pipe in your files. Untimely is my farm being closed down for a second season again this year. Let's not make any more untimely actions on either of our sides. Mistakes have been made and we can't change that. Please make the effort to resolve this matter. No more untimeliness. As a board, I urge you to take responsibility for your staff's mistakes. My time is open to resolving this matter, and time is of the essence. Let's talk soon. Thank you for your time, and thank you for everyone who showed up on my behalf and the farm's behalf to support the farm. It's great to live in a community that cares. Let's all be respectful of the NID board members as you voice your support. They have expressed they want to make this right. Thank you.
Hi, I brought you guys some peaches today. I brought napkins because they're a little juicy. Maria, I didn't forget you, sir. My name's Eric Dickerson. George asked me to help him with all the community outreach that this situation has brought. I have a petition here that this one has 1,225 names on it from the last 2 or 3 days. There are more online right now. Last Monday when I reached out to NID, I got a return phone call from Mr. Scherzinger. In the course of that phone call, he made a statement that astonished me. He said, "Eric, I'm not sure that I understand what the public expects NID to do about this issue." Well, first of all, I think the public would like you to uphold NID's mission statement and provide dependable, quality water, which you have failed to do for many months in this case. I think the public would like the district to formally, publicly acknowledge that the piping question was your property and your responsibility. Admit that your organization is negligent for all the direct and indirect damages that Sunsmile and Mr. Loftus have suffered and continue to suffer to this day. We would like you to quickly pay damages so that you owe, so that he no longer has to bear the financial burden of your mistakes. We would like you to stop deflecting the blame of this situation onto Mr. Loftus, as you did in the news the other day and in my phone conversation with you on Monday. You, sir, are implying that the damages are due to his neglect. The very idea that a farmer would intentionally let this happen to his orchard and farm is absurd. We would like you to stop hiding behind legal technicalities and your insurance agency as a way to stall this reparations process. We would like you to reassure us that the stalling that you are doing is not a strategy to exhaust Mr. Loftus's legal statute of limitations, his finances, or our attention spans. We would like you to set aside the profitable thing to do in this situation and opt instead for the right thing to do. We would like you to do everything in your power to ensure that this farm is not bankrupted by your actions and or your inactions. I think the public would like to see NID do some good here. It is said that all men are guilty of the good that they did not do. Mr. Wilcox's quote in the Union yesterday is something else that I would like to bring up. Mr. Wilcox is quoted as saying, quote, "I am concerned that this issue presents NID in a bad light. I think George would like everyone to believe that we are hostile to farming, and that is not the case," end quote. Mr. Wilcox, I fully agree with the first part of your statement. This issue does present NID in a bad light. And I think the public is concerned that that is an accurate light reflecting the priorities and intentions of the district. I hope that you can prove that wrong and show us that the local farms are the #1 priority for the district. However, it is the second part of your quote that I do not agree with at all. Having spent many hours talking with George about this situation, I know for a fact that he does not consider NID to be hostile to farming, nor would he like the public to believe that they are. In fact, it is at his request that I made the following statement in a message to all of his supporters, and I quote my own letter here. Quote, "I want to make sure that we understand and agree that NID is not the enemy. They are an organization that has made a mistake, and we are here to remind them that local farms are important to this community and that local farms should be a high priority at NID. Sometimes the right thing to do gets overshadowed by the profitable or the easy thing to do. It's not intentional, it's not evil, it's not malicious, it's just a mistake. All people and organizations make mistakes. All people and organizations deserve to be treated respectfully, especially when their mistakes are being pointed out. Please do your best to convince NID to change their ways through respectful, logical, kind arguments," end quote. Directors, it is not any of our opinions that NID is hostile towards farms. In fact, my personal opinion, based on the NID's actions and what NIDs have expressed to me, is quite the opposite. I believe that apathetic or callous would be a more accurate description of the NID's feelings towards farms. It is my observation that local ag water customers are a lower priority than treated water customers. I have been told many times by NID staff members that, quote, "ag water is an unprofitable enterprise that is supported by the treated water business." To further my point, your own general manager is confused about what the public expects NID to do about this situation. All of you seem surprised that there has been so much public interest and concern about the issue. Mr. Wilcox, hostility implies a great deal of attention focused towards farms. It is my observation that NID would rather not deal with local farms at all. It seems that it would be more profitable and easier for the district. However, this would not be congruent with the district's mission or its founding principles. I'm going to assume that all the directors did not read the emails that this group sent to each of you because the reply everyone received was the same 3-sentence boilerplate from the board secretary. By the way, if you guys want to improve the public sentiments about NID and dispel any rumors that you're not interested in local farms or what we have to say, reading your constituents' emails would be a great place to start. The end of my email read, "Directors, I hope your morals will show you the way on this issue. If that fails, I hope your desire to retain your elected position will motivate you. If that fails, I hope this community's many strong voices will convince you. If they all fail, perhaps we will have to wait for the produce trucks that deliver our food to stop coming before we realize the value of local farms like Sunsmile. You may think that could never happen, since the produce trucks have always dependably delivered a quality product. I'm sure that's what Mr. Loftus thought about his irrigation water supply until August of 2010, or 11, excuse me. His dependable and quality supply stopped, and one day our supply of produce could stop too. Please do not continue to stall and deflect your responsibility to Sunsmile and this community at large. We are all watching and hoping you find it in your hearts to do the right thing. Thank you and enjoy your peaches. If you'd like some more, they're right down the street.
Thank you. Members of the board, Weldon Travis, my wife Irene.
I'd like to say something, because we let the other one go pretty long, so
This is very short.
good. I want to kind of, we got other business to do today too, so just try to, we want to listen to everybody, but keep it.
Wrong answer.
Yes, that shows the imperiousness of you and the board, sir.
Yes, it does.
This is a letter that I've written to the board with copies to George, the union, and the territorial dispatch. I've known George since shortly after he moved up here. I've been very much aware of what's been going on, the way he's been treated, and his struggles. The actions of the Nevada Irrigation District, specifically its board of directors, are, to say the very least, despicable, morally indefensible, unconsciously counter to rural economic sustenance and homegrown produce support. Your disdainful, financially punishing treatment of a local, socially responsible, and productive man is now almost beyond redemption. You have acknowledged your responsibilities to rectify the damage and disservice to Sunsmile Farms, and yet you continue to delay justifiable compensation by now claiming a need to exercise financial due diligence. I say it is nigh past time, 2 years, that you expedite the correction of this travesty.
Good morning, Mr. President. I guess that's your correct title and board or directors. I'm Terry Lampier. I'm a Grass Valley resident. I'm a Nevada County supervisor representing this district, including Sunshine Farms, District 3. And I'm here to voice my strong support for Sunshine Farms, Sunsmile, and to urge your board to do everything in its power to assist Sunsmile in continuing its important role serving the community. Let me remind the board how local farms such as this one contribute ongoing high value to our community. Farms provide critical entry-level sustainable jobs and products. And by sustainable, I mean that modern farming produces jobs and products for multiple generations. It's not like a resource extraction type business, for example. Farming is one of the few areas to add jobs in recent years under these troubling economic times. Local farms meet our community's strong desire to have food grown locally and responsibly. And Sunsmile has the additional advantage of being very close to our urban core, minimizing the need to travel very far to get fresh produce. So jobs, fresh, wholesome, local food, keeping local businesses thriving, these are the characteristics of a healthy, sustainable economy. As policymakers, I see this as one of our most important priorities. As I understand it, historically, one of NID's main functions is to serve ag, or has been. Obviously, things change over the years, but that was one of the founding tenets beyond serving the gold mining industry. So I urge you to assist Sunshine Farms in any way within your powers and as soon as possible so that they may continue to be the kind of business our community needs and values. Thank you.
address the board and thank you for having this hearing. I note that you've already determined last year that the amount of George Loftus' request was too high. But what I don't know is whether each of you spent time studying, going through thoroughly, or did you just take a staff report? Did you then also, after thoroughly going through all of the documents and determining the accuracy of his request based on those documents? Also, I don't know, well, I do know that one of you has visited the farm, but from my perspective, it makes sense that every one of you go and see the farm, see the extensive amount of agriculture that is there, see the amount of damage that has happened. And on this basis, then, you will be in a better place to make a determination with those two, studying the documents and making the visit. And if you don't want to go by yourself, I'll be glad to go with you if you can fit my schedule.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. My name? Yes. Sylvia Osman.
My name is Anita Wall-Tuttle. I've lived in this community since 1989, and I really, really enjoy good food. I've written one of these cards to you, which I'll leave with the secretary. The Loftus family and their precious farm have striven to be good stewards of the land and good supporters of the community in which they reside. What has happened is a gross injustice and needs immediate restitution before everything is lost. There is no other farmstead as accessible as Sunsmile, and with good water arrangements and good restitution of what has been lost, it could again bloom and grow. Please help it. We need that good food again. And from a personal standpoint, I work at Interfaith Food Ministry now and then, and I know very well that George has helped out here. I can remember one day when a very large bin of peaches was brought over, and all of the people who came to get extra food at Interfaith Food Ministry got to take their pick and take home as many peaches as they wanted. That included all of us who helped there too, and we appreciate George and all he's done for the community.
Hello, my name is Suzanne Ferrajaro, and I am a treated water customer. I live on Lower Colfax Road between Cedar Ridge and Peardale. And two things I'd like to say. One is I'm also a customer of Sunsmile Farms and enjoy their produce. It's a local resource. It's a gold mine, a treasure mine. And I'd like to also say that the word responsibility has been talked about here. I'd like to point out that the word is the ability to respond. And it's the ability to respond not just to facts and figures, which you have done a very good job of stewarding our NID district here, but also an ability to respond from the heart and from a moral standpoint. And I hope that you find it in your hearts to do that. We're all in the same boat here. We're not growers, we're not eaters, we're all people that depend on local agriculture, and we need to foster that today. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is John Stabile. I've been in our community now since mid-70s. I've been shopping at Sunsmile Farms since about that same time, although George wasn't present visibly at the time. I shopped through his grandmother. Over the years, I've lost my teeth. I'm vegetarian, and I have a very hard time shopping in the store for food that I can eat. George has ripe food, very delicious, very nutritious. I would hope that all of you take an opportunity to go down and visit George sometime and taste some of his fine produce. Thank you very much.
An empty parking lot is a familiar sight here at Sunsmile Farms. You've been watching part one of the public comment at the NID Board meeting. Time for our second break of the day. When we come back, it'll be part two of the public comment. You're watching the Food and Farm Show right here on the Touchdown Productions Network.
Anything Green Hydroponics is your source for hydro systems, grow lights, and soils. Anything Green offers a complete range of organic nutrients as well as fungicides, miticides, and predatory bugs. Anything Green Hydroponics has just received this year's soil. Get your totes, pallets, or individual bags. Stay tuned for future workshops. It's all at Anything Green Hydroponics.
Grass Valley Hay and Feed Supply is dedicated to the health of your pets and livestock. They offer the top brands of nutrition and carry the complete line of products from Bar Ale and Purina animal feeds along with Diamond and Canaday. They carry rice and wheat hay bales for your gardening needs, as well as alfalfa, grass hay, and grain for your livestock. It's Grass Valley Hay and Feed Supply, supporting Nevada County agriculture since 1992.
Spring is here. Time to visit the Garden Center at A to Z Supply. We have everything you need to plant it, grow it, preserve it, and eat it. With a master gardener and full-time beekeepers on staff, the Garden Center carries a wide selection of organic plants, along with people and pet-friendly products. And don't forget our weekly workshops at the Garden Center at A to Z Supply.
It's time to visit the newly remodeled B&C True Value Home and Garden Center. The new B&C has completely changed for your shopping convenience. Their new expanded garden center has everything you need, including expert advice on trees, shrubs, and perennials. Check out their new website and the new spring hours. And thank you for voting B&C the best hardware and building supply in 2012. So start right, start here at B&C True Value Home and Garden Center.
My name is Michael Smiley. I'm a land planner and a landscape architect, and I've written a book on the protection of land for agriculture. It's regional, but it also deals with national issues. This was a few years back. So I've learned a little bit about, through the research and the writing of that book, a little bit about the issues facing the protection of land for agriculture, and particularly family farms. And one of the things I learned about that was that I came at it thinking that it was a land planning issue, simple dealing with the tools of land planning and so on, which I also do for a living. And I came to realize it's much more complicated than that. I would have to say that throughout all of that, though, we never really confronted this question. The fact that one of the fundamental reasons why we lose family farms in this country could be the fact of water. You know, it makes sense, obviously, it happens in very big districts and so on, down in the Central Valley and so on. But here we have a situation where we're potentially losing a family farm, and it really isn't about typical land use policy and so on. It isn't about zoning, it isn't about those sorts of issues. It isn't even really about the loss of market support. It seems there's very strong market support for this farm and for the produce that's provided. It's a kind of produce that in my lifetime, and I think all of you on the board, we've noticed you can't get this kind of produce any longer. And so when we can, you can call it a commodity, but it's a resource to the community. It's very, very important. So I think that the message I'd like to bring here, I think this farm is so important, and we haven't been here a long time, but the time we have been, practically from the first month, we found George's farm and started shopping there whenever he had produce available.
I think the message I'd like to bring is from a larger perspective, and I think this board has a huge responsibility, and it starts at the top. And that is that if we're not careful, we're going to take farms like George's Farms and other farms, and just for the simple act of a $2,000 repair, the highest and best use of that land is going to be for development. Because the family farm is going to go out of business, and then there's going to be development pressure because it sits right up against Grass Valley. Perfect location to grow homes. And that's what happens. And it's on your shoulders to make sure it doesn't. Thank you.
I was just wondering that if this issue does not get resolved, is that metal painting going to have to come down?
Morning. I'm Mike Pasner, owner of Indian Springs Organic Farm. Been farming here locally for 27 years. Interesting issue for sure. I'm on the same side with Peg and the Veal Bigs. That's pretty amazing. George and I don't always see eye and eye, but I'm with him on this one. It's an interesting situation. I noticed my boots are wet this morning and George's shoes are not. Either change shoes or didn't get out in the fields this morning, which is meaningful.
Or didn't have any water.
Or didn't have any water to get his shoes out. There you go. August 2011, Nevada County Public Works Department asked NID to turn the water off to spare the road. A 2-day fix. Why didn't it happen immediately? Lawyers say the most effective and efficient way to resolve an issue like this is to shut the water off. There comes a point where directors must intervene and not just listen to the on-staff lawyers. George and I don't see eye to eye on several issues, but it is NID's responsibility to supply a farm with the water we rely on. Because of the makeup of this board of directors, I expected you to protect the interests of agriculture. That expectation has been dashed. I hope you will take the actions to ensure this doesn't happen to other local farmers and do right by George Loftus and his farm. Thank you.
Anyone else?
My name's Carol Knight, and I don't often have a chance to be here because I'm a teacher and I work on Wednesdays. So I want to point out to you that there are a lot of people who are not here who are very concerned about this issue. And another point that keeps coming up into my mind is no matter how much that original fix would have cost you, how much is it costing NID and therefore us? How much will it cost to bring this to resolution? So many people have said what I would like to say. It's been said, so I don't want to repeat, but I really, really hope that you can bring this to a logical, moral conclusion, and soon, so we can get the fruit back on the trees, we can get the trees back in the ground, we can get the produce back. Thank you.
I'd like to add one more piece. It would be my hope that after you have done the research and had the visit, that you would sit down and negotiate, that you sit down together, not as adversaries, but as people who want to resolve a very difficult problem.
Good morning, Board. Bjorn Jones, I'm a Grass Valley resident. Up there. Grass Valley resident and past CSA member and friend of George and the farm. And I don't need to go on, but I'd just like to say I understand the need to do your due diligence in this matter as a public entity, and I just think it's gone on long enough, and that now's the time to act, and I just ask that you make a quick and just resolution of this matter.
Good morning. My name is Paul Stackhouse. I had no intention to speak this morning. I came to support George, but as a teacher, I always teach my children to express your opinions, to keep the debate alive. And that's what I like to do, as I saw that nobody else was going to stand up. The irony was not lost on me this morning when that fine young man won an award for heroism. And the award, the man giving the award talked about the importance of looking after our neighbors. And I think the situation with George and his farm is no less life-threatening than what happened with that young man saving the other man's life. Please do the right thing. Help George and his farm and help us keep that fresh food for us. I've devoted many years to this county. I've been a teacher for nearly 35 years, raised my family here. I was raised here. I wish to retire. This is where I want to retire and be. And farms like George's and the other men and women in this room that have farms, they're the ones that make this attractive. They're the ones that make me want to stay here. Thank you.
Good morning, I am Joyce Hare, and my husband Bill and I are here today. We are in our 38th year of residency in Nevada County. We are neighbors and customers of George. He has an easement on our property for one of his pipes, or the pipe. And we are just here to support him. I'm not going to repeat what everybody else has said. We're in total agreement, and we're here for George, and we'll always be here for George. Thank you, George.
Anyone else care to voice their? Have we got one more comment here?
My name is Donna Decker. I'm a resident of Nevada City and used to have a CSA with George. I wasn't here for all of the commentary that went on before. I just want to say the right thing should have happened 2 years ago, and I'm sorry that it didn't. And I think that you guys know what the right thing to do is now. And I urge you to settle with George in a way that makes him whole. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? If not, then I guess we'll close public comment. We'll take a little break.
These berry bushes are part of what's left of Sunsmile Farm that George helps to bring back. You've just watched part 2 of the public comment at the NID Board meeting last Wednesday. Time for our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll have comments from many of the participants at the board meeting today and hear from George himself. You're watching the Food and Farm Show right here on the Touchdown Productions Network. Nevada County Farm Supply has been part of the agricultural scene since 1993. Their staff consists of a certified crop advisor, licensed pest control advisor, and irrigation auditor. In Penn Valley, they have a full-service nursery with over 500 varieties of plants and garden enhancements. In Grass Valley, they have a warehouse full of soil amendments, fertilizers, and nutrients. Nevada County Farm Supply. Powerful knowledge and innovative solutions.
Briar Patch Co-op and Natural Foods Community Market offers organic produce from over 30 regional farms and buys local organic produce from farms like River Hill, Sweet Roots, First Rain, Pyramid, and Mooney Flat. You can trust the Patch to hold their producers to the highest standards and always be certified organic. So get to the Patch, the Briar Patch, for organic produce.
Anything Green Hydroponics is your source for hydro systems, grow lights, and soils. Anything Green offers a complete range of organic nutrients as well as fungicides, miticides, and predatory bugs. Anything Green Hydroponics has just received this year's soil. Get your totes, pallets, or individual bags. Stay tuned for future workshops. It's all at Anything Green Hydroponics.
It's time to visit the newly remodeled B&C True Value Home and Garden Center. The new B&C has completely changed for your shopping convenience. Their new expanded garden center has everything you need, including expert advice on trees, shrubs, and perennials. Check out their new website and the new spring hours. And thank you for voting B&C the best hardware and building supply in 2012. So start right, start here at B&C True Value Home and Garden Center. This one's dead, just like hundreds of cherry trees here at Sunsmile Farms. Welcome back to the Food and Farm Show. I'm Gil Dominguez. Thank you for joining us today as we bring you exclusive coverage of the Sunsmile Farm NID controversy. As you've seen from the public comment today, many farmers came out to speak on George's behalf. Now we're about to hear some comments as they exited the chambers, and we'll also talk to George himself.
My name is Sylvia Osman.
And Sylvia, we just had the public comment at the meeting here. What was your impression of everything that went on?
That everyone wants the board to look at this more thoroughly. That's, to me, what's important is they need to study all the documents more thoroughly, not depend upon staff. And secondly, that after they need to go to the farm and see how much damage. I have made that tour, and it is very, very harmed by what had happened without the water. And lastly, I want them to sit down with George and work to resolve this in a common endeavor without rancor, with seeking a goal that fits for the community and for George and Sunsmile Farm and for the board.
Anita Wall-Tuttle.
And what was your impression of the public comment today?
Well, they were all very, very supportive of George and his family and his farm, and for good reason. He grows some of the best stuff around here. He's the closest into our community, and in an emergency, I know he would help. And I know he has helped in the past. As I said, I work at Interfaith Food Ministry, and one day I came over and there's this great big metal bin full of peaches. And I said, where did that come from? Oh, one of our local farmers brought that over. And all of the people who came for food to be helped out with their family needs were allowed to take as many peaches home as they wanted to. And at the end of the day, there were still peaches left, and they said, help yourself, they won't last that long, they're dead ripe. So we filled up sacks and took the peaches home and enjoyed them. It had to be George. Nobody else would do that.
What was the board's reception, do you think? What did you gauge by watching them hear all this public comment?
They are masters at hiding any emotions. They sat there in their three-piece suits and straight faces, and did they take it in? I don't know. You couldn't tell.
Is that something that you would want our elected officials to have more compassion or passion instead of just sitting there in a stone face?
Absolutely, absolutely. They eat. They've got to realize that this is our lifeblood. That we are such a unique community to have not only people who have the knowledge, the expertise, but the willingness to grub in the dirt and raise these foods that we need to stay alive. And the fact that we have water, we're not dependent on water coming into us like they are down in the valley. We have our own water supply. We are unique. We will survive.
Hi, my name is Orr Fry, and I was born and raised here 73 years ago. So I've seen this community grow and saw it grow into a community that, as I remember as a kid, is much different, where everyone was there for everyone and helping and being the brother's keeper. And my dad was a doctor and a company doctor for Pacific Telephone, the gold mines. I was here when the gold mines were still there. And I remember the cooperation of the then very small community to move, to get things done, to help and support each other. And there's a sadness with me that, it's gotten to be so big that it gets out of hand. I'd like to see the community come back to basic farming and to the basics of help and support of each other.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Hi.
I'm Maeve Fry, Orv's wife. My relationship with George has been personal. We're dear friends. I recall the first time we went to the farm, he put us in a tractor and drove us around this incredibly beautiful, lush, absolutely gorgeous, productive farm. I was so just overwhelmed by how much there was. And also, I've been so impressed by his generosity, his giving to the community, providing food where people need it, giving flowers to hospice. This is a generous man. He's a hardworking man. And the farm deserves to remain, and he deserves to be compensated. And I am very, very sad that an agency that is supposed to be serving our community is in dispute with someone who is serving the community. Thank you for letting me make this statement.
Would you like to make a comment about the public comments?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I'm Debbie Gibbs. I'm with the APPLE, which is the Alliance for Post-Petroleum Local Economy, and these are our other board members, David and Pamela, and we'll have this on our agenda on Thursday because we're very concerned about Sunsmile Farm staying in business, and in fact, we'd like to see the expansion of local farmers instead of the contraction. So this is a big issue for us.
The board, of course, is elected, and these are public servants helping us, whether just similar to city council or supervisors. What is the responsibility, do you think, for our elected officials?
To serve the community and to make a decision. I think the people spoke eloquently about the moral obligation to do something, to maintain something as important as our local farmers. I mean, that is sort of the backbone of our community. So, I think they need to, find ways that are effective to do that, to accomplish that task.
Have we lost our morals at the governmental levels?
I hope not. I hope not. I still have faith in the good of mankind, and that again, I think these are people that really do care about having a vibrant economy, and Nevada County is really exceptional in that regard. So I think they will. I think they'll come through. I'm hopeful, optimistic.
George Loftus. George, a tremendous amount of public support today at the meeting that had to lift your spirits.
It definitely did, Gil. I had tremendous support here. I had some really intelligent people here commenting on their opinion of what they feel in their heart, and everything was kept very civil, and I think they showed the board respect by their comments and their concerns, and I'm kind of overwhelmed at the amount of people that took their time to come here, especially on Wednesday at 9 o'clock, and I know there's a lot of people that wanted to attend that had to stay at work or had other obligations that also stand behind me, and I appreciate all the support that I'm getting right now. But to hear the words that they would say and direct it to the board so that the board could understand the predicament that I'm in and how I feel and how they feel about losing their food. You take someone's food away, they can get a little bit aggravated, and I think they kept it at a very nice keel.
Now, you've faced this board many times, talked with them directly at the meetings, out of the meetings. What was your read, if any, on their listening to the public comment today?
I'm not real sure. I didn't hear a lot of response or any response, and we just walked back in, and they're basically explaining to the board that this is still a matter of litigation, and they're still dealing with the insurance company, so the board can't make a comment to the public as to where they're at with this.
Agricultural water is not as profitable as treated water. NID started by being an agricultural water service. Maybe that's changed to a large extent to where agriculture is taking a back seat.
I think that's possible. I think that in my situation, when you look at this, you can look at it another direction, is that NID was formed essentially as an agricultural entity providing irrigation water. At the time, my Uncle Joel had thousands of acres owned and leased, and it wasn't uncommon to put these pipelines into a farm through an area that later became a subdivision. And so I'm kind of an anomaly where this pipe was owned by NID, and in generality, their services, everything after the box is on your property or your responsibility. And so this is what happened. It was a basic mistake, is that staff felt that it was not their problem, it was my responsibility, but what they failed to do was go find the documentation to prove it to me, which was clearly in their files, which my attorney found. And so, I'm not sure where their direction is as a company at this point, but I know that I was in the early days through my grandfather, through my great Uncle Joel, that he had, Morgan Ranch, Shaw's Hill, Lytton Hill, Alta Sierra, Penn Valley, Chicago Park, Sunsmile as it is now, and he had all these distribution points. He was the largest grower in the county, and at that time NID was their infrastructure, was maintaining the irrigation lines. And like I say, today's world, later came the Sunset View Tract subdivision above me. They shared the same trench with the same two pipes, irrigation and domestic. And at the point that this happened, everybody believed, and within the NID management, they said it was my pipe. Whether they, obviously I can't say if they looked into their own documentation or not, but I repeatedly requested that they would do that and show me some kind of documentation. I am a general contractor. It requires an encroachment permit and insurance to go do a project like dig up a highway, and you have to have Caltrans approved traffic control, and I didn't believe that I owned this pipe. And when I had NID locate their domestic lines in their my irrigation line, I dug up with a shovel on the edge of the road and found the two pipes together, the original domestic line and my irrigation line. And at that point, I contended with them, I definitely don't own this, in my opinion, because you wouldn't put a private line in a trench with a public line 3 inches apart. And they still said, no, our stance is it's your pipe. And I said, show me some documentation. They didn't do that. Later, that maintenance manager and Ron Nelson, the general manager, retired or left NID, and I started out all over again in the spring with a new maintenance manager, Nathan Wasley, and also Tim Crow as a general manager. They did the same exact thing, saying it was mine by prescribed easement. And it took me, I went to Nick Wilcox and asked for some help. He said, everything after the service is yours. I don't believe I can help you. And then I went to an attorney, and she came in here and went to right away, and right on top of the file, it was proof that I did not own this pipe. At that point, they even asked me to take over ownership of it, even though they clearly know they own the pipe. And they would do the repair, but they wanted me to take over the ownership, which is another couple thousand feet that goes down Mills Road underneath their domestic line with the meters attached to it. And this pipe is 70 years old, and it was always my understanding since I was a kid, all that pipe was put in during the war with used pipe. So it's barnacled down on the inside. I feel I'm not getting the pressure that I should get in my line, and I'm certainly not going to take ownership of a pipe like that. I don't want a 70-year-old pipe in the middle of the street.
So how do we fix that breakdown in communication between the board level and the people that are actually doing the work out in the field?
Well, I'm going to be taking a tour of my pipeline with their new general manager, Rem, on Friday at 10 o'clock. And I hope to kind of give them some history of the pipe. I have, 40 years experience with this pipe. The gentleman, the maintenance manager that left, I think he had 20 or 22 years. I know a lot more about this system and its original history than anyone else here, and I'm hoping to give him an education on what happened and the chain of events that happened through the whole scenario of the pipe breaking. But we're not talking about this claim. It's about, what happens if I have another leak? How do we restore the system, and how can we look at this in a manner that, if I have a pipe leak and I have all these plants on the ground, I want to be assured that something's going to be taken care of in a timely manner. So I'm making an effort to, drive and walk the pipe with him and show him the service, explain the airlocks and the concerns that I have in it. So hopefully we can work together later if there is a problem, and also work with the problems that I feel I'm having pressure-wise with the pipe.
Where do you go from here?
Right now, I'm just asking for a response. I think I made it clear today that I would like to keep the door open, and I want to talk as soon as they have something prepared from their insurance company. But time is of the essence here, and I'm preparing to put the whole package together and go to court if we have to. But that's not where I want to go. I want to sit down. I want to settle this. I want my farm back. This has to be resolved. It's gone on for way too long. We're coming up on 2 years now, and my farm is virtually closed. I have no field crops in. I've lost a lot of trees. I lost all my blueberries and all my black raspberries. I want to, I want to resolve this. I don't want to go work out of town. So.
All right. Well, listen, thanks for spending a few moments again with the Food and Farm Show, and we'll continue to cover this story as it unfolds, and hope for the best results for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So there you have it, the public comment and George himself here on the Food and Farm Show after the NID Board meeting. We hope you've enjoyed this exclusive coverage, and Food and Farm Show will remain with this story until its conclusion, hopefully sometime soon. Remember, you can watch us each and every week, Monday nights at 6:30 on Comcast Channel 11, Suddenlink Channel 16. But the best way to watch us is on our own YouTube channel. You go to YouTube, you type in the Food and Farm Show, and there our channel will pop up. You'll have all 20 episodes to watch. Next week, we'll come to you from the Nevada City Growers Market, our first time out to this fun market right in downtown Nevada City. And we'll also be bringing you coverage of the Nevada County Ag Tour that we went on last week, which was not able to be shown today because of our coverage of the NID and Sunsmile. I'm Gil Dominguez. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week right here on the Food and Farm Show.